Welcome back to Dadvestor. It looks like I'm back to my old ways. So I learned a lot about day trading, and I'm applying it to the zero DTE strategies. Kind of not sure about it, so I'm testing it, not using a ton of allocation, 5, 10%. And obviously I can put stop losses and stuff. So what am I doing? Basically opening an Iron Condor early. I did 2. This is my first time doing this. Early I have traded sort of the evening, but the premise is that volatility is maxed out per day at the opening. So when you open something in the opening, then you capture all that volatility, and it looks like I was correct, at least in terms of capturing the most premium. My first one I opened was this one, and it wasn't that great. It's negative now because I got it for 150 and now it's 163, but it had actually gone up to 2, so it's sort of coming up and down. And that's kind of just because the market's fluctuating now. It's sort of solidifying. Basically, I'm just getting this out of my head, honestly. So the idea is that when volatility is high, you get paid the most premium as a seller of options. And so if you sell your options earlier in the day when the volatility is very high, as the volatility comes down, you naturally get that premium back. So the value of this position theoretically would have dropped. Here's the problem with this position. See it? It's really close to red. So that's why it's like a negative position right now, because I sold it for 150 and now it's worth more, and it's just because of direction, right? So there's 3 things: time, direction, and volatility that influence options prices. So this is a good example of doing things kind of wrong. But the day is young. It's only 10:14. And this is the first time I ever did it. The second time I ever did it, which is this one, I had a better range. I opened this later in the day. I opened this instead of right at 9:32. I opened this at 9:56 or something like that, very close to 10 o'clock. So it's only been open for like 15 minutes plus change, and I opened it wider. I found the expected move that was updated for today. I'm also watching the market, at least in the futures, on Top Step, because that's kind of where I'm playing day trading now, is more on Top Step. I'm learning, and it's informing my my options understanding. The point is, I am learning and potentially uncovering how to use zeros in a way that's maybe more tactical, more systematic, something I could teach people, but I really want to learn it first and understand the risks. Another option might be using XSP instead of SPX. XSP is the same thing, it's just 10 times smaller. So you don't have to risk, like on these, I'm risking around 400, a little less than that, $400. And so the total collateral here listed is $1,000, but that's because of that is including the other side. So options contract is between 2 people. So each of these is worth 500 total, and that adds up to being around 1,000. But that's including what he put in, not just what I put in. So what I actually put into these contracts is closer to 800. So that's probably too high for my allocation. I am learning, and I will learn better if I do it myself. So you can see this more intelligently done one is already profitable by $28. So I think the data is to capture 25% as fast as possible. And that I might do right now. So 25%, I already calculated it, is about 90 cents. So if I close this position for 90 cents, I will have been paid, I don't know, $25. It's not great, but hey, it's not nothing. So close position. We go to limit price. We put point, what did I say, 9? I think it's 90 cents. So I'll pay out 90 whatever bucks, and then the entire position will close, and I'll get, the collateral will be released, and I'll get my money out for a profit. There are some fees because it's SPX, but it's still a lot cheaper with gold and with Robinhood, so pretty happy with that. I used to be using Tasty Trade. I still have that. I just don't use it as much. So looks like the S&Ps are pushing a little bit higher, but they're kind of pulling back now. I'm watching it live, and I think maybe trying to escape with this would be best. So now that order is in, and it'll just be working in the background, and if at any time the current price here in the middle right, you see it's 0.98, if that drops to 0.9, hopefully I'll get filled pretty quickly and I can take my profit here. See, today's return 27, so I'm hoping for 25, which would I think it's it's 30. I'm hoping for 30, which would be about 25%. So you can see this one is still negative, but it's not bad, 23%, not really anything to worry about. If you look at the position, where I don't open it now, it'd be really stupid, right? So it's sort of like, pick your poison. And what I'm trying to learn is what's the best strategy. A lot of it does have to do with reading the market a little bit, which I'm getting better and better at because of day trading and understanding volume and order flow. So I'm hoping that helps me get an edge, and I think using options will give me even bigger edge because I won't just have to rely on price action. I can create these zones based on the data and the actual Greeks and the actual statistics that are based on the volume and the order flow and the options pricing. And actually utilize that. So it's honestly not as crazy as I thought. It's just like execution is hard, and I'm impatient. So hey, if I can learn how to do this, anyone can. And I'm hoping, even if I take a loss today, I'll have learned. Actually there is a good time to do it, and it's sort of at a certain point in the day. It's not randomly during the day. Like volatility matters, time of day matters when you place these trades. What you do matters. Like if I had just done a one side instead of two-sided, Iron Condor is two sides, right? So instead of two sides, see, there's one side, two side. If I had just made this side, the put credit spread side, then I would just be in the money. Like it would just be green right now. And I did make a read this morning looking at the charts and just based on VWAP and VWAP, I don't know how to say it, just based on the volume average price, volume weighted average price, it was bullish, and that is true. So part of it's just like really getting down how to, trust what I'm seeing. It's just, I need to do it. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I've moved away from strategic investing, excuse me, in terms of like long-term Iron Condors and stuff like that. I moved away from it just because of the market correction kind of crushed me. Although I guess most of the money I've lost was in my underlyings because you can see Coney here. So I lost a lot of money because the value of my shares went down, but I didn't lose any shares, so I don't have that much realized loss. But I think I ran a ton of back tests and was very disappointed in what happens when you try to use that sort of like 45-day, 90-day to expiration strategies. When you use options, I'm not very convinced that it works, besides the wheel. So I am running the wheel, but that's because the wheel is embedded in sort of the classical investing style. And so I'm just leaning more into that, and then I'll run these day trades and zero days options to generate a little bit of extra income, but it's more active. And so the semi-passive thing doesn't work. It's either passive or more active. That's what the backtesting seems to suggest. And it honestly makes sense from my experience of, a lot of my gains have been very short term, 1 to 0 days, like my butterfly strategy that made a lot of money. I don't really recommend that anymore because it's not that safe, but, this is a better alternative. Maybe do Iron Condors in the morning. A lot of people are doing butterflies because they're cheaper, which is kind of cool. So, like, let's say, hey, it's probably going to stay here at this range. Where am I? All right, so let's do a butterfly. And maybe I'll go nuts and just do it. So we'll do out of 300. And, okay, wait, sorry. I'm so used to it being XSP. But yeah, you can see, like, if it ends up in this zone, I could make a ton of money. And it costs $40 to make this. Like, that's nothing. So let's just do it. And I guess I just need to be specific here. Let's do that and see if I can get filled. So, and then what I'll do, if it doesn't get filled, whatever. But if it does get filled, then I can just put an order to close it at, like, whatever, not that much. But anyway, I'm probably not going to do it really because I just didn't really do any due diligence on that. But that's just to demonstrate, hey, this is a really cheap option. People do this because it only costs like 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks. And then if you make a couple of those, you get good at it, you can make a good amount of money. So, like I said, I still might make money on this sort of bad position just because of time and volatility. As volatility contracts once the day sort of settles, and assuming I'm not getting crushed, right? So if it was super bullish, but it's Trump season, nothing's super bullish right now, everything's a little crazy. So I'm assuming it's going to drop back down, and it might go down the other way, which is why I did Iron Condor in the first place. But, it is pushing higher and higher, so I could get crushed, and that's okay. I'll just close it later. And I think that's everything I wanted to cover, yeah. So, yeah, I lost a lot, but things are coming back up. Really want to start focusing on this account now. Quick life update, I am starting a new job, or I started a new job. It's going very well, but it's a lot of work. It does give me more flexibility so I can trade, and I really want to master these zeros as well as classical investing and adding some strategies. I made a lot of mistakes. I think my biggest mistake that cost me money anyway has been investing a ton of money into Coney, but it's still producing dividends, so I'm just going to hold on to it, practice Warren Buffett style, buy and sell. Buy and hold, and then sell options on Coney. So that's what I'm doing. I guess I should go over this real quick. So I got filled here at $20 for this covered call. Just going to let it run. And if I lose money, that's fine. I'll just run puts. So basically I'm going to make a call and then make a put. And if I lose the whatever, I get paid for it twice, and that way I'll cover my cost from buying those shares in the first place. And I'm just going to run that every week, and yeah, just let them run out. But I don't want to use all of my shares, so I have 600 shares, so I'm just going to do 2 or 3 at a time, and then hopefully close them for a profit. Maybe let the calls run and close the puts because this is already profitable. You can see plus 17, and I just opened it today. So I think the key is opening your options in sort of the high volatility mornings. I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. Nobody talks about that except Tasty Trade, and they're not super explicit. They just make a ton of content, so it's like you got to sort through it. So anyway, keep it real, everybody. Hoping to see 20K sooner than later, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Let's just survive. Peace out.